Okay, so I think this talking about the donor and the recipient. I would like to ask about that, Mr. Khairov, in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is supposed to be a new country, but it is a very rich country. So what is your position in this next globalization? I mean, will you come to other countries to put your investment, or you will invite people to come to your country to develop your country?
For sure, Kazakhstan is also more and more integrated in the global economy. It's becoming more and more globalized. For sure, we pursue the way not like being closed, but we open as much as possible. For example, we, as you know, recently, starting from 2010, in the beginning, 3 countries, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Russia, established customs union, which smoothly developed into Eurasian Union. Now Armenia and Kyrgyzstan also joined to our this union. It's the same in the sense of the movement of capital, movement of human resources, movement of investment. I mean, it's similar in that sense with which is going to be established within the ASEAN Economic Community. But of course, it also gives, like, you know, like some, since we are integrated, for example, the last, the sanctions for the Russia, so it's also affected Kazakhstan, because now we share the one market. For example, the recent devaluation of Russian ruble affected our entrepreneurs, our business people. So our government also had to devaluate our money. To make, although it's not, of course, it's not in favor of the ordinary people, but just to protect our manufacturers, to protect our exporters. So the government had to do it. Of course, Kazakhstan, we attract investors, but at the same time, we also investing a lot. For example, since Kazakhstan is a landlocked country, unfortunately we don't have direct access to the oceans, to the sea, which is very important in the global trade. So we are right now investing lots of money for example, in Georgia, in Iran, in building the seaports, developing the sea infrastructure. For example, with China, we also support the initiative of the establishing the Great Silk Road. We are, as I mentioned already, according to the program which is called Nurlu Jol, we trying to establish the link, the railroads, for automobiles roads from Western China until Western Europe, because it's very important, especially for countries like Kazakhstan. So it's kind of. Yes, sure.
Right. Also asking investment.
Yes. But of course, I would like to mention that, as has been discussed previously, in terms of protecting our the internal market, we have also some regulations, like, for example, for the local content, which oblige for investors, foreign investors, to ensure that for example, starting from human resources and from the production, from some spare parts which will be imported, will be included from Kazakhstan as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, listeners and audience, I would like to give opportunity to representative of United Nations of Information Center in Jakarta, Mr. Samek. How would you like to comment our theme today, Asian sovereignty, to face the global challenge? Because challenge is something like also there is opportunity behind it. The challenge is something like the trade, immigration, terrorism, money laundering, and yeah, it's something like we can avoid. There are still many people do that. So how do you comment this point?
Selamat sore. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. And indeed, I will try to perhaps address your discussion from the point of view of the United Nations. So that it's not a reflection of one single government, but more like a kind of unified approach of the member states. Definitely, Asia's sovereignty as such is a very sensitive issue because many states are having different views on how the national sovereignty or certain territories should be governed or administered. It's uneasy to face it, but again, if we talk about the globalized world, if we talk about the issues of the Millennium Development Goals and sustainable development, and this is, I think, something what is coming up now at the United Nations General Assembly soon, where the new set of the development goals is to be introduced and agreed by the member states. I think this should be also considered as a reflection of the way how the member states in specific geographical locations, now we talk about Asia, should address these issues amicably and solve them through the mutual discussions, negotiations, and cooperation, because this is also the only way that could bring the economic and social progress. Thank you. Terima kasih banyak.
Yeah, welcome. Well, audience and listeners, now let's move to, we try to narrow our topic. There are still a lot of things to be prepared. I mean, ASEAN next year, ASEAN Economic Community. So we try to be, especially Mr. Singh has already said that humans is more important than the products. So how we would like to make our human resources become more and more qualified and more professional. Because Indonesia, for example, is a big country with population in ASEAN. So how to anticipate the incoming people and how could our people can go outside? I mean, Mr. Anggreni.
Maybe I have to explain a little bit on the ASEAN Economic Community and the relationship with the movement of natural person. Because people always think that in 2016, then there will be some people coming from some people coming from ASEAN countries. Then there will be some very unskilled labor can come to Indonesia, a driver or a carpenter or something like that. I have to inform all of you that actually what we committed in ASEAN, this is only for business visitor. How we facilitate business visitors from ASEAN to come to Indonesia or vice versa. And then we also facilitate the intra-corporate transfer. That's only two things. It means that only in the managerial or director levels can come to Indonesia. And they have to have a commercial presence in Indonesia. So if you worried about that in 2016, many ASEAN workers coming to Indonesia, that is not happen. That's Actually, if you ask me whether we are ready or not with ASEAN Economic Community, then I have to say that we have to, because this ASEAN Economic Community, this is not like we flip our hand, but this is a process. It takes already more than 20 years. Then, actually, during that time, we prepare everything in Indonesia. For example, when we have to reduce the tariff, then how our manufacturing have to ready on this, then how long they need time for reducing the tariff. Then we also have to prepare for reducing limitation or discrimination for services sector coming to Indonesia, and we also try to prepare for the standard conformity. I think that we already do a lot, And this is, I think, that make us ready to be in
ASEAN
2016.
community.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So yeah, maybe from Mr. Pakbahan, it's something like yeah, what do you have to analyze? Yeah, I mean, do you think that Indonesian people are ready? Maybe the government is really ready to face the ASEAN community.
Okay,
yeah.
about this, I think I argue that probably there is a gap perception between the government and the people of Indonesia. And this gap, I think, is quite huge because I think what happened right now is what government should do and other stakeholders should do. First is, I think it should be in ASEAN itself should be kind of like a change the way or modus operandi in the policy making process to more from the elitists to the more people involvement. Why? Because I think this is because the different perceptions happen. So what happened is the government explained to the people about the good dreams of the regional integration, but at the same time, I think they also should give like the impact of the regional integration. I think this impact have not been delivered or have not been promoted yet, in my opinion.
Right.
I think that's why there's a different gap to see this. The second thing also, they have to explain, in my opinion, I think is how about the government tackle low competitiveness in our country, lack of human resources, greater disparity between rich and poor. And the question is, the main question, may ASEAN Economic Community be a solution to these questions? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I propose solution is rather kind of like to evaluate which sector are really kind of like ready to go forward into the ASEAN Economic Community and which are sectors that need to be involved by the government first. You know what I mean?
Right.
So why this is important? Because this is try to reduce the gap between what the government perspective and what the people perspective. I think that question should be answered lead by the government and also later on by the other stakeholders.
Right. Well, yeah, listeners and the audience, yeah, we have, this is the last session, so we have to connect to the row 1. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I would like to continue next, yeah, we still have time. Yeah, 3 minutes. Well, maybe from Kazakhstan.
Yes, coming back to the what the professor said here, I think it's one of the important things is to increase the competitiveness of your own people. For example, we are, as I said, right now Kazakhstan in the Eurasian Union with the 4 other countries, and of course in terms of human resources, yeah, it's and in terms of business, etc. Of course, there is the big impact from the other countries. They come to our market, they come to our country as I think as it is expected within the ASEAN Economic Community. But what our government decided to do, it's necessary to increase the competitiveness of your own people, your own business, to invest lots of money to it, and then even for the specialists like what do you call it, like a middle. At the middle, like not like managerials. So we also, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a huge program. The program which called Bolashak. So previously it was focused on like bachelors, etc. But now we changed the focus. So we sent abroad not only for getting the degree, but we sent abroad for different the practice and trainings. For example, any employer right now is allowed to send their employees for any university or any, the big companies like, let's say, Boeing, whatever. So depending on their field, So they can send, they make an agreement, and government will pay. So that's why, I mean, by these measures, the competitiveness of the people will increase, because when they come back, so they will bring the experience, the knowledge. We also recently opened a new university, Nazarbayev University, which is really big right now, the biggest maybe in Central Asia, like scientific base for getting the best education. We attracted the best teachers, lecturers, professors from all over the world, so to educate the people. So I think it's the most important thing to increase the competitiveness.
Yep, thank you. Well, listeners, we are coming to the closing, so I'd like to say thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador to Indonesia, India, His Excellency Gurjit Singh, First Secretary for Political and Mass Media Affairs, Embassy of Kazakhstan, to Mr. Ganshat Kairov, and Ms. Hondan Anggraini, Eastern for Trade Diplomacy of Minister of Trade, and last one is Mr. Baginda Pakpahan, PhD. Yeah, he's a political and economic analyst. Thank you very much. So to conclude our program today, so it's something like this is a real opportunity, because Asia is really the biggest continent in the world, and more than 4 billion and a half people. So anyhow, the challenge something like the panel say we have terrorism, we have maybe narcotics, so we have money laundering. This is something like how we can anticipate. So I think that's enough. Thank you very much for your coming, and see you for the next diplomatic forum. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
You've just listened to Diplomatic Forum, jointly broadcast by RRI World Service, Voice of Indonesia, and Pro1 RRI Jakarta.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our diplomatic forum, Asia's sovereignty in facing global challenges. And before that, now we would like to present souvenirs for our guests of honors of our today's diplomatic forum. And to present the souvenirs, we kindly invite Ibu Dwi Hernuningsih from Dewas, or the supervisory board, to the stage to present the souvenirs. Okay, so Ibu Dwi Hernuningsih would like to present souvenirs for the Ambassador of India to Indonesia, His Excellency Gurjit Singh. And also for the First Secretary for Political and Mass Media Affairs, Embassy of Kazakhstan to Indonesia, His Excellency Gamzat Khairov. And also to Ibu Sondang Anggraini as the expert staff for trade diplomacy of Minister of Trade, Republic of Indonesia. And last but not least, to Bapak Baginda Pakpahan as political and economic analyst on global affairs at the University of Indonesia. Okay, thank you. And now let's kindly invite all of the sources to take pictures on stage.
shadowed by external factors, especially by the economic slowdown in China, an observer said on Monday. Tony Prasetyantono from the State Gadjah Mada University in Yogyakarta said, in view of this situation, Indonesia must expedite the implementation of downstream industrialization and export market expansion. The projection that the Chinese economy would only grow 6.3% in 2016 and the negative impact of the yuan's devaluation would have a strong effect on Indonesia. BI's North Sulawesi chapter's chief Peter Jacobs said.